Anyone else? Yes?
What is your favorite woman in the Mass Effect series?
My favorite woman in the Mass Effect series? Well, I should mention that my wife actually does some voices in the game, so I'd probably have to say my wife. She actually voices, she's the very first voice that you hear in the entire series, because she's the voice of the Alliance computer when you're first creating Commander Shepard in Mass Effect 1. She also plays many other incidental roles, and Ranna Thanoptis, the Asari. Yes, the safe answer that will keep me married is that she is my favorite lady. But I think I know what you're saying. When I played through my characters, my renegade first romanced Ashley, and then in my second, in Mass Effect 2, my renegade romanced Miranda, and Paragon was Liara, and then Talon. And that was largely because I lost my Mass Effect 1 saves because my Xbox crapped out. And so I was just trying to recreate as best as possible. So I didn't have a lot of fidelity to my love interest. And I may actually go back, you know, when 3 comes out, go back and start a Mass Effect 1 and play all the way through just to see what happens. I've only done like a couple of playthroughs of each game myself. So yeah, that's my answer. But of course, there's like so many fantastic actresses in the game, so it's hard to pick a favorite. Yes?
Paragon or Renegade?
Paragon or Renegade, I generally do a Renegade play. I do both. So I do a Renegade playthrough first. Generally, in any game that gives you the option to be, say, quote-unquote, good or evil, I'll pick the evil one first, you know, and say, Old Knights of the Old Republic, I went Sith all the way, as Sith as you could possibly get. And then on my second playthrough, when I'm playing good, I generally, then it feels like I'm redeeming myself for being such a bastard the first time. That said, it's really hard to, you know, it's hard to resist the renegade interrupts even when you're playing as Paragon. Who doesn't like throwing somebody out of a window? Yes?
With the Bond one-liner.
So, feeling not great enough,
Sorry, speak up?
feeling not great enough,
Yeah, I didn't kill Ranna Thanoptis at all. No, I wouldn't be forgiven for that. Maybe on the next one I'll try. Yes?
Any comments on Prince Jr. voice acting in Mass Effect 3?
Well, I didn't actually have the pleasure of meeting Freddie Prinze Jr. He was recording in LA and I was in Edmonton, of course, but I had like his recordings. And yeah, I really actually liked the way the scenes with James Vega turned out. I had the opportunity last week to actually go into BioWare and play not just the demo, I just got to play the game. So about 3.5 hours one afternoon, just playing through and you know, doing the conversations with what companions I had encountered at that point. And they were also able, because I was playing at BioWare, to skip me ahead and show me certain scenes. And yeah, I think you're going to be quite pleased with this performance. Yes?
Are you going to be doing autographs?
I am doing autographs. Actually, after this, I've got a brief interview, but I should be back at my table around 4:30, 4:45, and I should be there till around 6 or so. Yes?
What's your favorite moment in Mass Effect games, whether recording or playing the game?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of moments that are favorites of mine for my own reasons. The encounter with Miss Al Jelani, the reporter. People. It's especially funny to me because the lady who played Best Man at my wedding. And yeah, so every time I see April now, I punch her out. Also, the Conrad Berger stuff was a lot of fun because I'm good friends with Jeff Page, the guy who plays him, so that was always interesting. And yeah, I'd say for me, on a personal note, it's sort of like the comedy moments. Also, when I get to play little minor characters as well, like say Nick Ducal, the Bionic God Volus. He was really fun to do. Things like the Morcha, when I'm doing things like that. You know, because Commander Shepard is of course fun, and let's face it, he helped pay my mortgage. So yes, I quite enjoy Commander Shepard. But getting at the end of the day to do some other characters is always fun to do so. Yes. Sorry? I went with let's see. I went with Anderson on my Paragon playthrough. Actually, I never left him in charge. It was like he rubbed me the wrong way. He was Paragon. and although I guess it's more of a renegade choice to put him in charge because you're being more sort of like well, practicalities trump the fact that he's a bit of a jerk. So yeah. So yeah, Anderson tends to get my full support. Yes. No, I haven't done that yet. To my knowledge, I don't know. You have to ask my wife. She's like, yeah, he's always doing that. Yes?
Your character ever come out in the day life?
Sorry?
Your character ever come out in the day life?
Does it come out in my daily life? No, I'm a lot more laid back than Commander Shepard is in general. But you know, the stakes in my life are not quite as high as his, so yes. Sorry.
What's your favorite line throughout the series?
The favorite line? I should go. That is my passion after all. Yes. Yes. No offense at all to Raphael Savard, she's great, but I did actually kill him off both times. It was because, okay, my Renegade was romancing Ashley, so I didn't want to kill her, and then my Paragon was sort of like, well, I can't kill the girl when I'm a Paragon, so yeah. So yeah, although I'm thinking that you know, when talking about going back and playing from the start of 1 again, I think I should keep Raphael alive for at least one playthrough. Yes? I got started in voice acting. I mean, I've been doing, you know, some commercials and things like that before, but with BioWare, it was back in 1999. Basically, it was called into an audition, and the audition was for one line at the end of Baldur's Gate 2. And you essentially had to beat the entire game to see my one line in the final cutscene. And it was an evil ball cleric that was, you know, sitting around the table and talking about how this fool is doomed. They enjoyed my work, and they just kept inviting me back, you know, calling me back after that point. I wasn't auditioning after that point. I auditioned for the first one, and then they just kept calling me back in, casting me in roles, and it culminated in being cast as the lead in Mass Effect. Yes?
What's your favorite planet in Mass Effect?
Favorite planet in Mass Effect? I'm not sure if I have a favorite planet per se. Although I will say my Renegade especially always supported the Krogan, because like Rex was like, you know, they were really good buds, you know, Shepard, and so I'll say Tachanka. I'll say Tachanka, just because my Renegade always backed the Krogan. You know, even in 2 when Rex isn't, you know, actually a party member, it was always just like, no, the Krogan. They've been screwed over by all the other species. You know, they deserve their chance. So yeah, I'll pick Tachanka. Yes. Besides Mass Effect, I've done the video game terms. I've done the Dragon Age, pretty much all the Dragon Age games that have come out. Let's see, in Dragon Age 2, I'm Jathan, who is the elf prostitute in the bordello. Many of you may have had intercourse with. And I'm also Hybris, the Pride Demon, who's actually a hidden boss in Dragon Age 2. He's in the dungeon that you have to unlock by finding all the files. He's a big Pride Demon. And very, you know, many other incidental characters and stuff for the DLC. In Dragon Age Awakenings, I'm pretty much all the talking Darkspawn, like the Withered and the Lost and all of those guys. And I think I'm all of them except the Architect. My wife is actually the Baroness in Awakenings. She plays that. Let's see, in Dragon Age, in the first Dragon Age, I'm a lot of the werewolves except for Swift-Runner. I'm many elves, lots of incidental characters, merchants, Tug in the downloadable content. And beyond that, going back, like I'm in Jade Empire as Jean the Ox Carrier. A lot of the Lotus Assassins, the Watcher, the guy who guards the assassin, the Lotus Assassin hideout. And then going back into Neverwinter Nights, I'm like a bunch of Baelor demons and Orc Shamans and things like that. In the Baldur's Gate series, I got to play Cyric, the God of Murder, after I did that one line. I think it was in Throne of Balm, that was Cyric. So yeah, just mostly villains and monsters and bad guys until Mass Effect. And even in Mass Effect, I'm the Vorcha and various other things. The occasional work that you're drums. Yes? Filming Fubar. Fubar 2. Yes, Fubar 2. I think Fubar 2. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's a Canadian icon. In Canada, Fubar is huge. So I recommend Fubar. The two guys who are in it are hilarious. They're very funny guys. It was great because that film was largely improvised. And so, you know, we just, I'm friends with those guys, and so, you know, basically just went into the car dealership and improvised a bunch of things. Sadly, I was told I was being far too funny, because I had one good run where I made the cameraman and director laugh, and that sort of screwed up that take, so, but it was fun, it was lots of fun. Yes? A dream role. Are we talking in video game voice? Yeah, well, people have asked me, and, I'd say it would apply to video game or live action. My favorite character, fictional character of all time, would probably be Doctor Doom. So, and he's been in tons of video games. So, a chance to play Doctor Doom would be great. I do have a custom-built Doctor Doom armor in my house. I wore that fairly. I played him on stage actually in our annual Halloween show. We at Rapid Fire Theater, which is the company I'm involved with. We usually do a huge Halloween match, which is theater sport, so it's like competitive improv, but played in character. So it's usually superheroes versus supervillains. We've had Justice League versus the Legion of Doom, Avengers Masters of Evil, and more recently we did a US versus Canada match of Avengers versus Alpha Flight. And that was particularly hard because you can't buy Alpha Flight costumes off the rack. You gotta put them all together. But yeah, I'll say Doctor Doom. Yeah. Yes.
Any tips for wanting to become a voice actor?
If you want to become a voice actor, well, the advice I give is get in on the ground floor with BioWare in 1999. In my experience, that works pretty well. I mean, essentially, the same advice would be given for like whether voice actor or any field of acting. It's like essentially you have to be willing and aware that it's going to take a while. And basically just keep at it. Like I do a lot of improv and things like that, and like doing live stage stuff, and that sort of thing keeps your skills sharp. It allows you to be in front of an audience, and I just take workshops, take any opportunity you can to perform and be on stage, and do it because you love it, not because you think that it might lead to a lucrative career. Because it doesn't always. Yes. Well, I mean, of course, when you're approaching a role like this, you have to give them equal weight. You can't just be like, I'm gonna really kill the renegade lines and then kind of phone in the paragraph. No, it's like you're doing both. That said, obviously, the renegade lines tend to be a little more satisfying, or a little, a little more snarky or funny. So I'll say the renegade lines are more fun, perhaps, but you do have to give equal attention. Yes. I'm going to cut your balls off and sell them to a Krogan. Yes? Favorite male character? I tended to actually go with the, the sort of more exotic-looking aliens and like, Legion, like the cybernetic beings. I tend, even like playing Old Republic, I'd always pick out the Wookiee and the HK droid. It's, so, let's see, in Mass Effect 1, Rex, once he was in my party, I don't think he ever left my side. He was always there. A lot of, I liked Morton in Mass Effect 2. It kept him around a lot. Legion, certainly. Garrus. So yeah, I guess it was the weirder looking and more further away from human they were, the more likely they were to be taken out of the ship. Yes?
What's your favorite species and why?
Favorite species? Well, as I say, the Krogan, of course, has the full support of my renegade. I particularly like the Volus. I like playing the Volus. And I was somewhat disappointed that there weren't any Volus in the multiplayer. You guys have probably seen that. There were some people like, too bad there's no Volus, because I think that would be hilarious, just having a Volus going out there kicking everybody's ass. Let's see. It's a toss-up, I guess, between the Krogan and the Volus. And considering that I play all of them, I guess I'll have to say my final answer is the Fortune. Yes? Yeah, I mean, if you go back far enough, I was actually enrolled in science at university. And, I did about a year of that, and then discovered acting, because I didn't actually take drama in high school. It wasn't an option. I had to actually take art my correspondence. I came from a very small town. And so I'd never really been experienced in drama. And I kind of vaguely knew that improv existed, but again, I didn't do it in high school. I came to it much later. So it was discovering acting sort of in university that prompted me to drop out of the university and become an actor. Yes?
Is there a character you completely despise in Mass Effect?
A character I despise? Dina really gets, gets my goat, that is Dina. But as a character, though, I think he plays an important role. And Yeah, you know, yeah, I guess you could also say that the council tends to be pretty irritating. They never listen. They never listen. No, there's no character I despise. That Saren guy, he was, yeah.
Now, Jack, I'm going to wrap it up. And why?